Don't tell me Hakari's mother's gonna be a soulmate. Hakari's mother's totally gonna be a soulmate. You know it. Finally, with episode 9 of 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You, we actually have the moment of, will they permanently be separated, and will that cause disaster? Honestly, excellent episode. There is a side of me that's like, gosh, we're doing this trope. But then I catch myself going, the whole show is tropes. The whole thing is tropes. It's just how the writer executes them. But honestly, this episode really does shine how well this writer is at kind of looping jokes in on itself. There's so much stuff happening at the same time, and those jokes come together so perfectly. I mean, a prime example is the whole situation with Kanane essentially fighting off the gorilla. And at some point, yes, the others have to catch Shizuka. And that plays into a joke to her and the fact that she's thanking this gorilla, when in actuality, she's just happy that she wasn't over here. It's really clever. It's that kind of stuff that when I think about it, it's like, wow, that was really well put together. It's that well-rounded joke where the comedian starts out the whole story with one specific thing, and they tell their whole story, and at the very end, they tie it back in the beginning. It's that kind of humor that is super clever. But yes, again, we presented, finally, the case where somebody might be separated from Rentaro, which could cause a disaster. And yes, while at first it's like, oh, it's the mom that keeps them apart, at least they're acknowledging why the mother is separating them, and it's not simply, no, I don't want my daughter to be with this boy. It's legit, I don't want my daughter to be with a guy that is, 5-timing. It makes sense. Like, this is one of those cases where the mother does that, and I'm against it, but at the same time, it makes perfect sense. If this isn't your standard dad is mad because he doesn't want his daughter having a boyfriend at her age. It's legit, this mom's like, I don't want you being with this guy that has 5 girlfriends. I don't blame the mom. But yeah, it does bring up the question mark. How is this writer going to handle this? And again, I trust this writer in how they handle these tropes. But there's like a degree of, I have like 5 different theories, and it's in a degree of, the first ones are kind of very safe stuff that you typically see in a lot of these shows. And then like the later ones being where the writer gets a little more bold. In every single one of these cases, yes, they go in there and they infiltrate the house. In my first one, they get caught, and then Rentaro gives some massive speech, and then the mom accepts. That is the simplest and easiest and most boring way that a lot of these shows handle this. It's just because the main character says some great things, and the mom goes, okay, I accept it. And it could go that route because, let's be honest, Rentaro is a good dude, and I can see him saying something that will change the mother's mind. Or at least show that he's willing to go the extra mile. That's how he wins over the hearts of all these girls. He goes the extra mile. The second route is very common as well, which is where they infiltrate the house, and then Rentaro will end up finding Hikari, and they'll be in some sort of compromised position, and the mother will assume that they did it, and then go, okay, well, now you have to get married. It's tradition, you have to do it. Like, Hikari can't go to any other man. She'll never be able to marry anybody else, so she has to be with you. And it may be one of those things where she forces Rentaro to promise that he's going to give up the other girls, and he kind of shrugs and goes, yeah, sure, mom. The third is they infiltrate the house in the dark, and then Rentaro mistakes Hikari's mother for Hikari, and then runs off with her. And you can add on to that the next one, which is where, yes, you have the soulmate snap, where suddenly the mom is a soulmate. That's like the biggest one. When this episode first started, and it was like, okay, so they're doing the mom doesn't like Hikari being with him, so that she's going to separate them. Don't tell me the mom's going to be a... There's way too much work being put on Hikari's mother that I have no doubts that she is going to be a soulmate. It's going to happen. That's the only way I can see it resolving. And yeah, that's... Well, like, more bold, it's bold to other ones. Whereas this story, it kind of fits, honestly. And now the boldest of bold, like, this is the one where I just don't see it happening, is where they infiltrate, kidnap her, they run off to some other location, and they live somewhere else for many years, separated from their old school life and their old life. That's the one that every one of these stories say they're going to do this, but they never do it. They never actually leave. They never actually elope. And it would be pretty cool if you actually had where, for once, in a harem show, they legit leave their homes, and they legit elope, and they legit live somewhere else. But it's not gonna happen. We all know it's not gonna happen. I don't know why they don't like to do it. It's like they always say they're gonna do it, but they never do it. Anyways, that's my list of predictions for next episode. I think the one that I think is the most bold, but I can see it being the one that they'll actually do, is where Rentaro goes in there, and mistakenly grabs the mother, and then they have the soulmate snap. Because that's the easiest way for this story. They can technically handle that, but with a funny punchline. Otherwise, it's going to turn into Rintaro has to say something to convince the mom that seems like the mom is obsessed with Hakkari, and additionally, has a lot of money. Parents don't change their minds that easily. And even though anime likes to have the main character change the parents' minds, parents don't change their minds easily. Anyways, that's my predictions. Getting to this episode, though, as per usual, despite the fact that it is a Hakkari episode, Kanane steals the show. Every time it's somebody else's episode, Kanane for me always steals the show. That outfit on Kanane was super freaking cute. I wanted a full shot of it. We only got the full shot whenever she had the jacket on, but she looks super cute in that outfit. I wanted a full shot of it. Hopefully an artist out there will pick it up. But yeah, like they have the little butterfly thing. Is this a waifu? I immediately thought, is this a waifu? But yes, the whole shtick here is because Hakkari has always dreamed to have a wedding dress with the one that she loves, and they so happen to be at this flower field. It was all according to her keikaku that they would have this bouquet catching, and they would work together in order to get it. And of course, the person throwing it is a retired shot put thrower, which is the vice principal. She just wants to chuck it out of the atmosphere. And yeah, the gorillas show up. Apparently, they want to catch it so that they can the big gorilla lady can give it to this cute little Shota, which is a questionable thing in itself. And they all work together, and the gorilla's throwing people around. I got a kick out of this because this is sort of like your scenario in a lot of these shows where you have like a race or something like that, but it's kind of combining the bouquet thing with it. So I kind of like that. It's that whole like amazing race thing where everybody's rushing to something and they're combating while they're rushing to something. And of course, in this situation, it turns into Kanane going full strength after the gorilla, protecting Hakkari, Kanane best girl. And then for some reason, poor Shizuka pulls the Breath of the Wild and gets this updraft from the guys with the flags and just flies up in the air. This poor little girl just kind of floating up there, and everybody's panicking like usual, kind of like the whole kissing zombie thing. It turns into this whole thing where everybody just turns into massive protection mode because Shizuka is too cute and they all want to protect her. And then they turn into a safety net. A safety net. I like, he's gonna hurt if you catch her that high. And then Kanade starts thanking the gorilla. She's like, I'm so glad that I wasn't over there. Mountain, 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 valley. It should have been mountain, 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 hill. Depending on your definition of mountain hills. It should have been mountain, 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 hill. Kanade is not like massive flat, but I guess she comparatively, she probably thinks that she's a valley. No, what's funny is that now they have the bouquet. She's a good second best girl, catches it. You have this whole moment where Hakkari wants to trick everybody with these pulling the lots. And she goes to Nano first, thinking that she'll be the most logical to grab the closest one. And I'm like, no, logically, she'd probably think the one that has a mark on it is obviously one that was previously marked for somebody to trick the system. But she doesn't. She says, everybody do it once. That's the most efficient way. That makes sense. That is for her to efficiency. That makes sense. But that was super cute having Kusuri like throw a fit, and Hakkari wanted to give it up to her. Now, from Hakkari's perspective, I do like it's that idea of, well, I'm going to leave him anyways. Even though this is my last chance to have this moment, I'm never going to have this moment again, and I'm never going to be able to remember it again. Now, I would argue, yes, she could remember it going forward, but it's something that she wants to give to them because she knows they're going to be together forever. And so it's something they should carry with them through their lives. Well, she is going to have to move on. She's never going to be able to see Rentaro again. But I like that Kusuri like goes up there, gets just smashes her face in the mounts, and then says, yes, no, never mind. You have it. No, this is something that you want. It's the fulfillment of her dream. I thought it was going to turn to one of the things where Rentaro just goes, all right, let's just break the bank and just get them all it. Like, that would be the most bro move, and I would expect that from Rentaro. This idea of like, well, I have been saving a lot of money, so let me go ahead and just do it for everybody, and I'll be broke for a little bit. That way we can see all of them in dresses, but no, this is Hakkari's episode, remember. But yes, Hakkari mentions that she can never see him again, wants to break up, disappears. I don't know, somehow she slipped into a closet without him being able to ask why. She says, we need to break up, and then she, I guess, ran off to the changing room and then disappeared. I don't know. But like this little segment afterwards, they're like, maybe she went off to go pee. What? Not everybody's like you. No, everybody has to pee. Kanade, do you pee? It's a 99% chance that Kanade has to pee. What's the other 1%? I thought, obviously, idols, because idols never use the restroom, remember? Or was it idols never poop? I think it's just, I think it is poop, but I usually joke at that it's just in general. idols don't use the restroom. They that would make them dirty. They don't use the restroom. It just they magically digest everything. So I don't know, maybe Karane being an idol in a lot of people's eyes, maybe she doesn't have to use the restroom. But I like the fact that this kind of came out of nowhere because I was laughing at the whole 99% joke, and then out of nowhere, Rentaro's over here just internally thinking about something completely different. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, that's right. If she doesn't answer, I have her address because she's apparently she mailed him pinups. She sent me sexy bromides, and I have them at my house. And there's an envelope, and maybe it's on the address is on there. It's like Hyakkano's taking like hot pictures of herself and sending it to Rentaro on the side that nobody knows about except for him. That's Hyakkano, yes." Now, yes, this is where we set up the whole thing where Rentaro goes there, discovers that Mother is this rich person that solves everything with her money, and she doesn't want them to be together. Specifically, like I mentioned earlier, which is kind of surprising, they actually got into the idea that the mother figured out that, yeah, it makes sense. If this mother has a lot of money, she's going to have a lot of connections and be able to find out that, yes, Rentaro's walking around with Hyakkano and 4 other girls. And this is something, obviously, any parent probably is not going to want. So at least, for once, it kind of makes sense. It's not just the knee-jerk reaction parent that's being overly protective. It's literally, technically, yes, the mother has a legitimate reason to be upset about the situation. But no, it kind of insinuates something later on when the mother kind of forces her hand, saying, "I can make Rentaro disappear. Like, I'm that kind of rich. I can spend money to have somebody get rid of him." And so Hyakkano has to give in and say, "No, I will always listen to you, Mother. I will never disobey you again." And then the mother gets in there and goes, "Yes, my delicate flower. I'll protect you. I'll keep any danger from you. I won't let that disgusting insect have you." It's kind of going in that realm that the mother is very, very protective of her daughter. Possibly, what my assumption is, it's going to be probably the situation where the mother was betrayed by the father, and so she hates men. And so she loves her daughter and wants to keep her daughter from dealing with the same pain that she did. Again, it is also tying in with the idea that Rentaro is with multiple women, but that could technically fit into her if possibly Hyakkano's father maybe cheated on her mother. And that's the reason why she's so against Rentaro, for one, because he's a boy, but 2, because he has multiple women. So it can technically have a logical sense behind this. Something that, and granted, most of the cases like this, it is logical. An overprotective parent is logical in a sense of their own mind, but at least it kind of adds a little more flavor to it. But the whole thing with her being overly obsessed with Hyakkano kind of leads me to believe that this, again, like I mentioned earlier, probably going to be solved with the mother having a soulmate snap. Like that zap is going to happen, and she's going to go, "Oh, Rentaro," because I'm already assuming that the father's out of the picture, and possibly the father's never coming back into the picture. He doesn't have to be dead, but maybe just possibly cheated on the mother. And so she'd be willing to go after Rentaro, which is kind of sad to think about it, because she'd be going after Rentaro, who is the boyfriend of her daughter, while not liking the fact that their husband ran off with somebody else while she was with her. The logic starts to break. I already broke the logic of the mother snap. If it's a case of the husband cheated on her, the logic is suddenly broken. But with soulmates, logic is out the window, right? But I did like a little bit of this development in Rentaro when he leaves, and he obviously echoes in his mind the things the mother said, the things the cop said. He's too young. Young people can't deal with things like this. He's not strong enough. He's not old enough. He's just a kid. All these things that kind of compile onto him the idea of, I don't have power. I don't have strength. I don't have money. I don't have anything. What do I even know about love itself? How do I know how to make somebody happy? Kind of downplaying on himself until he sees the 4-leaf clover, which kind of plays into him remembering everything about Hyakkano and remembering, yes, these are all the things that I experienced with her. These don't have less value. And then he almost gets Truck-kun. He almost gets isekai. He sees the 4-leaf clover. He gets a burst of strength, and then boom, isekai. But yeah, that's when he goes to all the girls, says that he's going to elope with Hyakkano, but he'll end up coming back. And we all knew, they're all going to say, we're going to go with you. But yeah, good stuff though. We'll see how the next episode goes. I'm curious how many episodes this will go. Again, depending on which one of those theories that I have, they would go longer. Like the idea of actually eloping could go multiple episodes, but I would assume that's probably going to wrap up in another episode. It seems like with all these story arcs, it's only 2 episodes at most. So we'll see though. We'll see though. One other note that I made is her mentioning the biker gang and everything like that. He's like, "Thank you, Nanopedia." That was a good little. I don't know if that's translation jab in there that I actually got a kick out of or not, but I think he said Nanopedia. But good stuff. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 9 of 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. If you are a reader of the manga, as per usual, I am not asking for the answer to any of these speculations. It's just fun. I love doing that. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate it. Support the channel. It means so much to me, and y'all take care.